Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Real Sports Updates here. Back again with another video. It's the first video showing my beautiful face. I am a real person, just in case any of y'all were wondering. I want to get straight into it. There was a huge upset in college football earlier today. Oregon went into Ohio State, pulled out a huge upset win. The final score was 35-28, but Oregon dominated the entire game. They were physical. They moved Ohio State off the ball, and they were able to run the ball like crazy. I've never seen anybody have that much success running the ball against Ohio State. It was a thorough ass whooping that the Ducks gave the Buckeyes. It was similar to what happened last week with UCLA and LSU. So my question is now, is it time to start putting respect on the Pac-12's name? And I think it is. 2 weeks in a row, we've seen really thorough wire-to-wire wins by Pac-12 teams against teams who, you would consider to be like blue bloods. LSU is a college football blue blood. Ohio State is obviously a college football blue blood. The recruiting that they do, the caliber of players that they're able to get year in and year out, it's time to start putting a little bit more respect on the Pac-12's name. Even though these are early season wins, these are huge. These are huge because they have so much implications when it comes to the college football playoff. These big early wins really sets the Pac-12 up to have at least one spot in the playoff. Whether it be Oregon, who I think will win the Pac-12, if they're able to have a good season and just maybe have one quality loss, or a Pac-12 opponent that knows them very well, if they're able to parlay this and continue to build on this momentum, I think we could probably see Oregon in the college football playoff. SEC needed that loss because we've heard it for years, and it's been true for the most part that the SEC is the best conference in college football, and they have the best athletes, and we get it, and blah blah and all that stuff. But most of that talk comes from the success of Alabama. Alabama is far and above everybody else in college football, and they just happen to be in the SEC. I don't think the other SEC teams have claim to we're the best because blah blah blah. Like, that's Alabama. Alabama's on another level. They're beyond the SEC. They're in a territory of their own, and I don't think all the other SEC teams really compare to that. We've seen LSU have some success, definitely not as much as Alabama though. They had that fantastic season a couple years ago, and they've been awful since. They lost all their players. They lost Joe Burrow. They lost a bunch of guys to the NFL. And they've struggled since. They had an awful year last year, and an early season loss this year. They have a tough schedule. They do have to go and play some tough teams in the SEC. LSU is looking like at another 5 or 6 loss season if they're not careful. With Ed Orgeron being, they're gonna escort him off campus, if you catch my drift, at the end of the season, because they don't look good at all. For all the talent and stuff that they have in the SEC, they don't look good at all. I don't know who else. Georgia is a team that's good every single season, but they can never put it together. They haven't really done much as far as like national championship stuff or whatever. They made it to the game a few years ago. They ended up losing to Alabama, which they always lose to Alabama. Everybody always loses to Alabama. If you take Alabama out of that conference, is the SEC really that good, or is it just another Big Ten? I think they're probably equal, on equal footing. If you take Alabama, if Alabama says we want to leave the SEC, we want to be independent, a la Notre Dame or something like that, who does the SEC have to say, oh, we have the best players and we have the best team and all this other crap that they say? Who else in the conference? LSU, they get good like once every 6 or 7 years. Georgia's good, but can they beat Alabama in the college football playoff? No. They can't even beat Alabama in an SEC championship game. So it's like, what the hell? But I think that was a very, very humbling experience for the SEC. I think they needed that last week. They got their asses kicked. by a smaller UCLA team too. UCLA has a lot of transfer guys on their roster, a lot of guys who have transferred in. So they're older and they're a much more mature team. But still, they weren't, they weren't playing against the recruits of the levels that they get in the SEC. So they did get pushed around, and I think they needed that. They needed to be humbled. As far as the Big Ten, though, Ohio State, this didn't surprise me as much as it's surprising everybody else. Ohio State was favored by 15 points. In a top 15 matchup, a lot of people thought Ohio State was going to win, but by 15 points, you got Ohio State ranked number 3, Oregon ranked number 12. You think Ohio State's going to beat them by 15 points? I knew Ohio State wasn't going to cover. It was 50-50. It was a toss-up of who was going to win, but I knew Ohio State wasn't going to cover that. That's way too much for a good Oregon team who is top 5 in recruiting. You think you're going to beat these guys off the field like that? That's ridiculous. So Vegas set that line. They're really giving away money right now. There's another line tonight that I'm taking as well, too, USC and Stanford. The line for that as of right now is 17.5. And Stanford is not good this year, but the USC Stanford thing has always been a rivalry, and there's always been close games. There's been a bunch of games that have been decided by field goals and touchdowns and all that stuff. 17.5 is a lot for a conference rival. And like I said, Stanford's not good, but if it's USC week, those guys are going to play a little bit above their capabilities to try to beat SC, because that's what they do. And SC does the same, anytime Stanford is a little bit better than they are too. So that's a lot for really like a conference game. Vegas, they want to give money away now. So everybody look out. If you're into sports betting, look out for these lines. And I'm not a huge sports bettor, but some of these lines are just crazy. And as time goes on, these lines are going to get closer. Vegas doesn't really know too much about these teams just because the season has just started. But if y'all look and see, you will see that there is going to be some cash grabs for some of these games. Some of these lines look crazy. It's going to be the same thing with the NFL tomorrow too as well. So get them bets in, man. Get that easy money before the lines close up and everybody knows what's going on. That was just a quick reaction that I had. Let's put some respect on the Pac-12's name. I expect Oregon to win. I expect Oregon and UCLA to end up in the Pac-12 championship game. I expect Oregon to win. I expect Oregon to go to the college football playoff, barring any injury or any really bad upset losses that they have. They look pretty good, and it was a very good game, very entertaining. Ohio State is not as good as everybody thought they were. They haven't looked good these first 2 weeks, but we'll see how they end up finishing the season. I want to see if they'll progress and get better. Defense look weak, getting pushed around, getting ran on. They give up like a 70-yard touchdown run. You never see that against Ohio State. So yeah, that'd be interesting to see. But just a quick reaction. Just decided to come on here and give my thoughts. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll probably be doing more videos like this. They're a lot easier to put out than the other videos I've been putting out. So look forward to seeing my beautiful face more. So thank you guys, and see you next time.